hopefully. All right, guys, welcome back to the Intellect Coaching Podcast. Today with me we have JT Tanner, and special guest today is none other than Nick Ridpath. Nick, I've known you quite a while, but our audience may or may not know who you are. So introduce yourself and let's have some good conversation.
Yeah, Nick Ridpath. Where do I start? I mean, much like a lot of coaches, fitness for me started when I was playing sports growing up, especially in high school. About the time where you start getting interested in the weight room, for me, it was about, how can I make myself better at sport? And coincidentally, went down many of the same rabbit holes as most of you guys probably did as well. Bodybuilding.com, even like T Nation, all the classic stuff, reading the terrible advice they had for us on there. Some good, some bad, but that was kind of the intro, run a few Steve Cook, big man on campus programs, and eventually figure out a couple things. I played football at College William & Mary. Thought originally I was going to do physical therapy, so I kind of got a bit involved with interning in some clinics, learning more on like the physical therapy side of things. I figured out ultimately that I want to do training. I don't want to wear a collared shirt and a name tag and spend $250,000 in school for 3 years to not start working. So got into training right out of school, which was also right at the start of COVID. Actually, the first job I ever got hired for personal training, the gyms shut down the week after I did the interview. So I got hired. I was going to start the following week, and then gym shut down. So that was my intro to personal training. So basically moved home with my dad and started training kids out of my dad's garage. Started doing some online coaching a little bit, which goes against my typical advice of like you should have some reps in person before you start doing online coaching. But it was COVID. Everyone was doing online coaching. Signed up for the Prescript Level 1, so just doing some continuing education, training everybody from high school kids to moms and dads out of my dad's garage, and then started managing a gym over in Blacksburg where we did a combination of mainly was more geared towards sports performance. We had athletes age 9 to 40, everything from middle school, JV, high school, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, you name it. We had a pro golfer. We had some CFL guys that trained there. So on any given day, I got to work with a pretty large handful of athletes across a wide age range. And coincidentally, that gym was owned by the physical therapy clinic that I interned for originally. So I had an in there with the owner who also allowed me to do like one-to-one PT sessions with people who were finishing up their rehab for, let's say it was hip replacement or back pain, elbow pain, whatever it is. They wanted to get back into training. So that's where I kind of got a very, mentioned it before we got started, like I kind of work with a little bit everybody. That's kind of where I got a very wide, amount of touch points on different clientele, from young to old to athlete to non-athlete, rehab, non-rehab, whatever it is. I got a lot of experience there. So after that, moved up to DC area, started working at DMB Iron, started from zero, got a lot into gym pop training mainly. Whoever walks in the gym wants to train. Typically it's the average person, 30 to 50 years old, a little bit overweight. They don't feel amazing. The shoulder kind of hurts. They just need to get into a routine, need some accountability, need to move better. So I kind of built most of my business off of that. Kept growing the online side of things, got back more into working with athletes, which is eventually what I wanted to do. Started working for Prescript somewhere in there as well, doing online education for other coaches. What did I miss there? So now basically on any given day now, I work with everybody from Gen Pop, like I just described, to high school athletes, college athletes, pro athletes, other coaches. A big segment of my online business is working with other coaches. I work for Prescript as well. So I teach 2 labs for Prescript every week. So my days look weird. I do a little bit of everything every day. Now, I do a lot of online coaching, but also yesterday I did 10 sessions in person. I was in the gym from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, master of none, something like that.
What's that?
So Jack of all trades, master of none, something like that.
Yeah. Same. One thing I wanted to spotlight on what you went into there is just the variety of different types of individuals that you've worked with and how broad your scope of practice has been over the past. How long have you been coaching now?
6 years, going on 7, I guess. Is this year 7?
So how much of the variety of people you've worked with would you credit to the knowledge base you have now and the comfortability you have with working with different types of individuals? Like how much do you think that's played a factor into kind of how you operate your business now and who you work with?
Yeah, I think a big thing for me was starting Prescript early on and getting this, idea. We teach, it's not a system, it's a systems way of thinking, but a lot of the same principles that you're going to apply, because your training is training, which sounds stupid because, like, we're not going to train, a bodybuilder the same exact way that we're going to train an NFL athlete, or the same exact way that we're going to train, a lifestyle client, right? There's going to be differences, but in the day, like, basic movement patterns, programming principles or principles. How can we view those things and kind of think laterally from person to person? Like, what are the similarities? What are the things that aren't similar? What actually needs to change here? And ultimately, how are we going to coach these things for this person? And I think if I were to tell you, I worked with everything yesterday, from an older gym pop client to a bikini bodybuilding athlete to a Division I football player who's probably going to get drafted next year, right? A lot of the same reason why I got involved with each of those people are the same. Something didn't feel good. They had some sort of performance limitation nobody else could figure out. They needed someone to help them with that. And a lot of it is kind of movement related, right? Just tweaking small things, slight changes to programs. I'm not sure if I've quite answered your question here or not, but the overlap between these things is actually more than you would expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So going into that with like movement quality and things like that, the different individuals you work with, you mentioned lifestyle clients, athletes, bodybuilders. So what are some of the big common mistakes you see with a lot of people's like movement patterns and performance in the gym? What are the big things that you see?
Yeah, I think going off movement patterns, a lot of people think they need specialization. Like, they need a special program. Like, I'm a bodybuilder now, I need specialized training for bodybuilding, which is true. But specialization ends up being things that are typically, it's more like, I'm just going to do more, which is fine to a certain extent. I think when everybody starts, like, just doing more is probably going to work. I think of going back to the physical therapy clinic. One of the PTs I interned with was this guy who was like U.S. Airborne in the Army for like 20 years. He was a battlefield medic. He did Iraq and Afghanistan and several tours. And he was like, I treat PT a lot like I treat being, on battlefield triage. I was like, okay, like, I'll listen to this. He's like, yeah. He's like, we have this rule of thirds where it's like a third of people, no matter what you do, they're probably going to die. A third of people, no matter what you do, they're going to get better. And about a third of people, you're going to have a significant difference on, positive or negative outcome. I don't think training's quite the same way, but I think you could group people in the pools where, like, the average person walking to the gym for the first time could work with any coach that you have, the best coach you have, the worst coach you have, the worst coach across the street. If they just keep showing up and they do a good bit of work, they're probably going to get better. Now, we could talk about the margins between working with like one of you guys versus working with them, and how fast they would get better, but they're probably going to get better, right? The more progressed you get as an athlete or as an individual in your training, the smaller those margins become. So it's not necessarily about just doing more or being more specialized in a broader term, but looking at things like stimulus in a different way, which is where I'll get into, like, when I look at training, everyone's always like, okay, progressive overload. Progressive overload is this very broad idea that most of us know, right? We need to do more in some way, shape, or form over a longer period of time for us to improve, right? I need to add reps. I need to add load. Like, everyone knows the idea of the logbook. I'm tracking things, making sure I'm progressively getting better. But if I go back to like physics 101, which I was terrible at physics, so don't let me sound like I'm in fucking SpaceX. I'm not. Sorry if I can't curse on this podcast, Nate. How long did me drop an F-bomb here? But it's like this idea of a scalar entity versus vector. And that sounds like shit, but it's like, okay, something that's scalar, it's just going to have direction, right? So just at magnitude, right? So I picked up 20 pounds, right? I ran 5 miles, right? There's no like secondary quality to that, versus a vector is going to have magnitude and direction. So I walked 5 kilometers southeast, right? That's going to have direction to it. So we're looking at training. It's like, it's not just the stimulus that we're giving, but what's the direction it's going in? I.e., like, how well are we executing it, right? What's the tempo? What are the movement qualifications that we're going to standardize around this exercise? Okay, well, probably certain joint angles, things like foot pressure, hand pressure, right? Rib cage, pelvis relationship. Those things are all going to have a qualitative aspect to it that's going to improve the direction of stimulus, or like improve the tension through muscles that we're trying to train. So a lot of people, I think, to answer the original questions, like, what are the biggest mistakes they make is like not identifying that, if I move better, I don't necessarily need more weight. I don't necessarily need more reps. Now, over time, those things should still progress. But how often do you need a new client, they've been training with you for like 12 weeks and like the dumbbell curl stops improving. And they're like, oh man, like, I'm just not getting any better. Like, what's wrong with me? It's like, well, it's an isolated movement. if I added 2.5 pounds or 2 reps to this every week, by our first year of training, you'd be curling 100-pound dumbbells. I can promise you, no matter the amount of drugs you take, that's never going to happen in your lifetime, right? So it's like, is it necessary that we always progress reps or load on every single thing? Right? There's more layers to that, right? So I think, specialization, or really if we're looking at what to do better in the gym, it's looking more at that side of things. Like, how can I improve the quality of my movement, which can be a whole can of worms to open. Like, what is quality? What is standardizing movement? This person says do this person says that, right? But generally speaking, I think this focus on execution can go a very long way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook that when they get into training, and they think that they're going to be within 3 months moving weight like Ronnie Coleman. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, with a dumbbell curl or like a lateral raise, for example. Like, I can have a client using the same weight for 3 months, but like, if we're improving the quality of the movement and tempo and the execution, like, you're still getting stimulus on the muscle. You're getting something out of it, but it's not necessarily going to be where we're seeing like load increases consistently.
Well, there's also a lot of people there that on the split side of things, that they don't ever progress anything, right? Like, they think they're not 3 months it's going to be Ronnie Coleman, but they're also like, I'm just going to come in, I may expect this, I'm going to move weight and I'm going to make progress, like not putting any effort or intent to any of their training and expect everything from it.
Yeah, you can almost do layers to that, right? It's like the average person walking in, like, what are they doing wrong? It's like you're saying, no intent. I can't say how many clients I've trained and they're like, I've just always done the 35s on shoulder press. Mm-hmm. Like, when I go to the gym, I do 35s. Like, they aren't training, they're working out, right? They aren't looking to have more intent. But really, it's just like, what's that intent directed towards? Is it towards progressing? Like, actually, okay, I'm going to try to push this harder. I'm going to try to actually train harder, right? Or is that I'm going to try to dial in my execution. I'm going to try to care more about getting a better outcome, right? That's why a lot of people reach out to you. Like, hey, like, I'm probably intermediate at this point. Been training for a while, just kind of seeing my progress stalled. Like, I think I know a lot, but also I don't know what I don't know. You're the expert. Help me fill in the gaps here, right?
I see a lot of that with you have a lot of people come in that, it's summertime, right? So you see this influx of people that should have been in here 6 months ago, but they're like, I want to look like you, I want to do like this. And I have this certain physique they're trying to achieve, but I don't want to be a bodybuilder. But that's what it that's what it entails, is kind of what it takes. It's like, you don't want to be a bodybuilder, but you want to look like a bodybuilder. But in order to achieve that look, you have to actually be a bodybuilder. So it's one or the other. Like, you have to take on that intensity. You got to take on, like, what can I improve, where, how, all of these questions that come up and the research that it takes to get to that point. But, like, I also believe that you don't have to do all of that either. Like, if you want to come in and work out and you want to be that person that's all you want to do, okay, that's cool. Like, I think that's fine for people. It's a health standard, okay, that's fine. But don't have any, like, high expectations from yourself to have this, like, crazy physique if all you're going to do is come in, lift weights, and do anything more than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things there. It's like, one of the common things, like, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. It's like, I don't want to be that bulky. Like, have you seen Nate's stage shots from his first time competing?
Yeah.
Like, dude was pretty jacked on stage, basically an AIDS patient, right? Like, it's when you get lean, you're not going to be as jacked or bulky as you think you're going to be. Yeah. Or it's just like, okay, there's a difference between bodybuilding where, like, you are going to put yourself on stage and compete against others. Like, you're trying to be the absolute best. So you're going to be locked in. You're going to be on a meal plan. You're going to be tracking everything, training style, in logbook, sleep, recovery, all that stuff's locked in. Okay. Well, it's like, if you want to get leaner, have muscle, look better with your shirt off, whatever it is, okay, how far do you want to go there? Because you'll have people, I've had clients that are like, they'll send me their goal physique. Like, okay, like, you don't look bad now. You aren't, like, too far off of that necessarily, but here's what it'll take. And a lot of times, like, okay, well, I don't want to give up my drinks I have once a week. Like, I don't want to give up eating out a couple times a week. I don't want to give up. Okay, cool. It's like, well, you look pretty good. You don't want that. Like, you just don't want that. It's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to have realistic expectations about what the outcome is going to be, or what really you need to do to get that outcome. And then it's like, okay, this is what it takes. Here's what you want. Do you want that? Yes or no? Versus, okay, if you're okay with having some sort of tempered expectation of, okay, maybe I don't want that, but I do want to look a little bit leaner. have more muscle. It's okay. Maybe we don't need a meal plan. Maybe we don't need to hit our macros 100%. Maybe 90% and missing a couple sessions a month won't be the worst thing for you, right? But depending on how fast you want that and how much of a result that you want, you're going to need to lock into these things more and more. So it's just, again, having that conversation with a client like, hey, here's what it takes. Here's the time frame. That time frame is going to be dictated by your consistency. If you want to deviate from the plan, if you want to, have these more social occasions where you're drinking or eating out, whatever, it's like we can usually do that to some extent, but it's not going to happen in your 6 week or 8 week time frame. Like you're saying, coming in next week is June. Coming in June, you'll be lean by July. Good luck. You better be most of the way there already, buddy. Like otherwise, we're already going to be planning for next June.
Facts.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important parts of like development as a coach is like getting to a point where you're comfortable having those conversations with people and setting realistic expectations. I think when people first get into this industry, they're so scared to be blunt with people about like the realities of like how long things actually take and what the process actually looks like, that they try to sugarcoat things, and that paints like a false picture for the client of what's realistic in timelines. I think being upfront and being transparent about what it's going to take, the rigidness of like you said, if you want to get on stage or if you lost it there.
Where'd you go?
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're back.
I can hear you.
I think just like establishing those timelines of people and just being very transparent is so important. Because if you tell somebody, all right, I can get you there in 8 weeks, it's really going to take 6 months, like that's a significant difference. And their expectations are going to be, oh, we're going to get there in 8 weeks. And then it makes you look bad, right?
You better be able to get there in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to hold you to it.
Part of it is most of us are broke when we start. So you just say yes to everybody. And that's how you build the skill set. It's like, okay, you say yes to some clients you shouldn't have said yes to, and you deal with the aftermath of that, right? It's okay. Like now I know how to be blunt. And ultimately, that's a question I get asked a lot too, is like, I deal with a lot of interesting personalities, you could say. Like I get referred a lot of clients that didn't do well with another coach that I know. And they're like, we're going to make it Nick's problem. And I think one of the ways I have success with that is like, I'm just very blunt out the gate. Like I don't, and it's not like I'm a hard ass or anything, but like I'm just firm with the things that we need to be firm about. We both need to be on the same page. We need to have realistic expectations of what your goals are and what it takes to have those goals. And then if they try to push back on that, you just say, hey, this is what we talked about. Here's the deal. Like you're not going to crash out on me. You're going to crash out over something stupid. We're not going to work together. Right. But you're just firm. It's like, I don't need you, and not in like a negative or derogatory way, but it's like, this is a relationship, right? We're not going to be in a bad relationship here.
Right. It's definitely a coach's, it should be a standard of like, because I think coaches find that harsh to set the realistic expectations, but if you can do it in a way of like, okay, you said you want this. Okay, I'm going to tell you this is what it takes to give you what you want. And now the ball's in your court. Now, if you don't want to do that, we'll start negotiating, and then I'll tell you, okay, this is where you can be with that. But it's not me coming up to you and saying, yeah, absolutely, we can do what you said. No, you have to set those standards of saying, this is what it takes to get what you want. If you don't want to do that, I'm 100% okay with that. But we need to make sure that we're on the same page. And if we can get there with doing these things and you're willing to sacrifice and put in the effort to do this, okay, we're good. But if not, okay, exactly. We're going to come back and reevaluate, and this is where we can be.
Yeah, I think in the physique athlete space, that's a super common issue. Is like just having those conversations up front when you're starting with somebody that's looking to get on stage. Nick, I know you work with some physique athletes as well on like the programming side of things, correct? I think
I have too many now.
What's that?
I have too many now. The running joke is I'm a bikini coach because I have like 5 bikini girls now.
Oh yeah, but that's been fun.
It just coincidentally, yeah. Lots of glutes and shoulders, yeah.
Nick the bodybuilding coach.
So one thing I did want to kind of go into topic about today is obviously we got started during the COVID era. So like, I feel like that just provides so much perspective on the different layers of like coaching. And we were kind of in the beginning of our careers when the online fitness space really started to take a step in the next level, particularly around the COVID timeframe when people weren't able to get as much hands-on. What is your take on things going on in the fitness space now with social media, like the clickbaitiness and the attention grabbiness? Like, What do you see there, and what is your take on just like the direction I feel like the industry is taking, where it just seems like such a drive for like attention versus like actually quality and integrity behind what people are doing?
Yeah, honestly, even outside of integrity, the word I'd focus on there is quality, which to me is being good at your job. And it's like if your primary focus is just acquiring social capital, sure, you can get a bunch of followers, you can get a bunch of leads, but like, let me see your business. Like, let me see the summary of your Stripe account from last month. Let's see if it's actually paying off in your business. I know a lot of people who have relatively large social media followings, but I don't think their business is doing as well as you and I might think it is, right? I also know many people who have less than 10,000 followers who make several $100,000 a year doing online coaching. So at some point, it's like, yeah, if you want to be in an online space, you probably need to have some amount of social capital, but also you need to be good at your job. And ultimately, being good at your job is what's going to help you with a better business, more so than you posting clickbaity bullshit for you to get more followers. And I do think there's some art to social media. Don't ask me about it. I just do what the kids call like clip farming. I do podcasts, I do YouTube. I take my short form media content from that. That's all that I do. I don't curate short form content. I don't do trending audio. I don't do TikTok dances, whatever, because those things to me aren't going to actually get you, paid customers or paying customers. So, yeah, I think that the focus is more on like just having a business and having social media following as opposed to actually being good at your job, which is like I get most of my business through referrals. It's not because I posted a cute TikTok or a cute reel and got a bunch of likes on it. It's because I did a good job by usually not even one person, but by a group of people who know somebody else. They reached out and asked them, hey, who should I work with for this problem? And they referred them to me, right? And you get a good referral network. You build some social media following, right? So you have that as well. You have an in-person arm where you're refining your craft. Like when I'm doing online coaching, I open up my WhatsApp right now. I cleared it at like what time of day? I cleared it at 10 a.m. this morning. I already have like 30 more messages. Okay, probably 10 of those are videos. I'll go watch 10 videos of probably one set. I'll respond to those 10 videos of one set versus I just got on this call for training a client in person. We did 6 exercises, 3 to 4 sets per exercise. What is that? 20 some sets, right? So I just got 20 sets of coaching feedback from one in-person client. I might respond to 10 videos right now from 10 different clients. What's going to get me more reps? Probably the in-person side of things, right? So if yesterday I was telling you guys I saw 10 clients in a day. That's, what is that, 20 times 10, 200 sets. That's a lot of opportunity for me to practice my coaching craft, right? For me to watch something, think about how that looks, whether it's good or not, give some sort of critique to make it better, and then also have some variety within that. Some people are better at, listening to cueing, more auditory. Some need something visual. They need a better demonstration. They need to see themselves in the mirror, or they need some sort of environmental constraint, something external to them. Some are more tactile. No matter what you say or show them won't fix it, but like put their hands on their shoulders, tell them to stop shrugging, and they relax your shoulders, right? Tell them big toe pressure, jam it down into the big toe. Okay, now I know what it is, right? But you learn those things through getting more reps, and you're going to get more reps doing that in person, as well as communication. Like a lot of going back to what I was saying earlier about being blunt with clients, a lot of what I was referring to is more in the online space, but you're hanging out with somebody for an hour, doing hour sessions, right? If you're a good trainer, you're probably doing 20 to 30 sessions a week minimum, right? That's 20 to 30 hours of you having to have a conversation with somebody. So you're going to get better at the communication side of things as well, especially when we're on, talking on WhatsApp, whatever training app that we're using. Communication is much tougher. There's not really body language. It's just, here's a message, here's a voice note, right? We have less layers to communication. So it's much more important that we communicate clearly in that format.
So yeah, I love that you brought on that point of getting skin in the game on the gym floor, because that's a conversation I always have with younger trainers. Nowadays, with the society being so instant gratification, everybody wants to be an online coach. And I think the online coaching space is one, it's saturated, but I don't think there's a lot of people doing it well. But I do think the people that are doing it well got their reps on the gym floor, and that's how they've been able to transition. I don't think everybody's that way, but I think for the majority, I know myself included, like I've been doing in-person training for 8 years, one on 9 years. And it's like, it took quite a while for me to build up any type of momentum online, because one, like you have to develop the skill of working with people and communication to make it actually an effective product you can offer people where it's like they're going to see the value in it, right? Like I think early on, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to try to build up an online client base. It's like, all right, you have to actually have a body of work first and ability to communicate with those people directly. But I really like that you brought that point up, because I think people massively undervalue the repetitions and the value of working with people hands-on and just developing the skill of coaching.
Well, that requires patience too. So that's a lot. Everybody wants that instant gratification. That's the problem.
Yeah, the coaches that are doing the same shit are the same as your clients that come in and it's already June 1 and they're like, I want to be lean by summer. Okay, like you need to go see a therapist, or you need to have like you need to have some sort of self-awareness here, right? Which is a skill to have. And I might say again, I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but it's like, it's the truth. We need to have some ability to have delayed gratification. That comes with a lot of things in life. That's a big skill as a coach, is helping people realize, that is necessary if you want to have long-term progress.
Yep. Yeah, the delayed gratification gets everybody. It really does. But because nobody wants to put skin in the game first. Nobody wants to put forth the effort to do it themselves. I think that's a big part of it. Nobody actually wants to do it themselves. They want to train people and never be trained or never go through any processes of learning. They just like, I know how to work out and I've gotten big. Maybe it's just based on their genetics. Like they're just gifted in a way, they lift weight and all of a sudden they just start pushing. They start pushing on mass and they're just getting huge and they're like, yeah, I can teach people how to do this stuff. And they go online and just start pushing out information that maybe not false, but it's just not a coach's way of doing things. Like you don't know how to actually coach people and be personable and like do it online. Doing it in person helps a ton. I love that part of it, is like I'm still trying my best to get into the online world, but I'm trying to still critiquing my craft and making sure I've got it dialed in before I go out to the public, because you have to do a good job. If you're not going to do a good job, there's going to be no referrals come out, which is crazy because a lot of people think that in this online industry, the more videos and clickbait you put out, the more business you get, which that's what you preach. Everybody preaches online, but I'm with you in the aspect of like referrals are everything. People who like they talk to and say he did an awesome job, they're gonna you pretty much sold it and you didn't even have to talk to them.
Yeah, I look at your like social media profiles like a business card. I know for me, like I'd say the majority of my online clients are people I've either met on the gym floor or they're just like a referral from another online client. And I think when those people get referred your name, they look at your profile and then they kind of look at the content you have and they're like, okay, maybe I might reach out to this guy. But I don't think I rarely ever gain a client because of like some viral video that I've posted. I don't think I've ever gotten like an online client that way. It's all just like word of mouth and momentum, like doing it the old fashioned way.
Yeah, I've got them from maybe once in a while, the transformations. Like I post a transformation and people are like, okay, he did something with that person. And that's what, that I get it from there, but nothing from a viral video. I don't get anything from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, so one thing I wanted to talk to you about today is I know a lot of our followers will probably be interested in the pro athlete space, because we've had a few of those guys on the podcast over the past couple months, and I know you work with a few yourself. What's that been like, and how does that differentiate from any other type of client that you work with?
Yeah, I think with the pro athletes, typically they don't love training. You have some that do. Like, what's your boy Ethan? Like, obviously he loves training. Like, Joey loves training. Most of them don't. Most of them have been good at what they do for their entire lives, and they've been better than everybody else their entire lives. And it's not saying they don't work hard still, but a lot of them haven't necessarily had to, right? Or they haven't had to. Like, I literally had a guy I started working with last off season, not this year, but last year, and he told me this is the first off season I've actually like locked in to strength train. I like locked in to do field work. Like I've locked in to prepare for a season. I was like, oh shit, dude, you're going into year 3, I think, at the time. It's like, and he's pretty good player. So you hear stuff like that. So I think a lot of it is dealing with different personalities. And 2, it's like when you have a gym pop client come in and tell you something similar, I've never trained before, never locked in. It's like, well, you're in charge. I mean, depending on where you are, I don't know if you guys have like the CEO of Bank of America walking in to train with you guys down there in Charlotte, but like these guys make a lot of money. They're in charge most of the time. Like they're not necessarily used. They don't really have a reason to listen to you. Like you have to provide them value, because most of them as well have had 10 trainers, whatever before. Everybody and their brother has tried to reach out and say, I can help you. I can make you better. I can do this for you. So I think the biggest thing is just creating buy-in. And honestly, the same way I create buy-in with a lot of these guys, the same way I'll create buy-in with a bikini athlete or a gym pop client whose knees hurt for the last 4 years. Okay, well, I can run you through an assessment. I can give you an idea of what's going on. And typically I can make you feel better in a session. If you make somebody feel better in a session and explain why, they're typically going to be bought in. I'm not the best at making athletes the fastest, right? Like, I don't have many guys coming to see me for combine training, although I think I'm like adequate at that. But a lot of what I do is, okay, guys are hurt, guys are beat up, they don't feel good, they can't play well because they don't feel good, or they can't play at all because they don't feel good, and making them feel better, making them more resilient. You know, it's going to have the same principles as a bodybuilder whose back hurts. Like, the reason your back hurts is the same reason why your glutes suck, right? Those things are overlap. So I can make your back feel better and also sell you on how to train your glutes better with those same principles, you know? So I think the biggest thing is really just like personality wise and coaching wise. That's where the real big difference is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So one thing I wanted to bridge the gap into that is talk a little bit about what you do with Prescript. I know a lot of your coaching principles and philosophies come from Prescript, and you now work for Prescript. Talk to us about like what that journey has been like, because I know you started out as a student and now you also instruct there. You're hands-on with level 3 down in Tampa, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I used to listen to a lot of Mind Pump when I was in college. I was like kind of debating, instead of doing physical therapy, should I do personal training? They were kind of like the gold standard podcast at the time. They were some of the early ones in the space, and I liked their stuff a lot. And then like one day Jordan went on there. I listened to Jordan. I had no idea who Jordan was at the time. And I was like, man, this guy talks about training like the way I want to talk about training, like the way I want to listen to training. Like, it's just so many layers deeper. So I started following him. Right as I was graduating school, they had just started running the first semester of level 1. So I kept seeing all people posting it, and there was like a lot of people, you know, a lot of social media buzz around it, really good responses. So right when I graduated college, they launched the second semester ever. So I just signed up right away. That was the semester they started doing the labs, which I do now, which are basically like Zoom calls, office hours, you know, case study stuff, coursework stuff, any questions you have. It's kind of like a roundtable discussion. Yeah, it's like, cool. I was like, okay, it's COVID. I probably have like less than 10 clients right now between in person and online. I have some free time. I'm going to attend all of these that they offer, and I'm just going to try to make friends and listen and, you know, get a lot of mental reps in. So by proxy of that and taking the course, I kind of became friends with Jordan and Genta and Killian, like the guys that were on staff at the time. And then whenever they would do in-person stuff, I would just go to the seminars. Like, I went to Toronto twice. I went to San Jose. I went, where else did I go? I went to like 3 or 4, you know, in-person events, met the guys, hung out, trained, ate dinner, whatever, for a weekend. And yeah, I think that was a really good experience, just being around people that are kind of doing what you want to do and doing it at a high level and getting to learn from them and really, you know, train and break bread with them. I think that's super important as well. So, yeah, I just kept taking all the courses, level 1, level 2, level 3. Became pretty good friends with Jordan. And then, you know, eventually he said, hey, we need an extra instructor to run some labs. You want to hop on board? And I was like, sure. Yeah, like, I'd love to. It'd be an honor. You know, I love everything Prescript's about. I love what it's done for you know, me and my career, and also I've seen it for a lot of other coaches. It's not this like bullshit course you take and like learn a couple things. Like, I think there's so much to it between the actual principles you learn and how well you can apply that to a very wide array of clientele, as well as the community. Like, you just meet a lot of cool people and a lot of people that are good at their job, and you get to learn from others who are in the community, which I think is super cool. Yeah, then now we do level 3. So I did the level 3 my first year as an instructor. And then I think we're going on year 4 or 5. So every year for the last 4 or 5 years, go down there for a couple weeks and get hands-on with college guys that are now training for the combine. I think we've had, you know, at least 2 or 3 guys drafted in the first round every year. I've been down there. You know, 15, 20 guys get drafted every year. I think out of the group of 30, typically 20 or so end up on rosters. So it's a cool experience, you know, and it's been several years now. So it's cool to see how those guys have progressed.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one thing I wanted to pull from that, and the big takeaway, I think, is you saying yes to opportunities. I think that's such an important part of like any industry you want to get into. Is like saying yes to opportunities and putting yourself out there. Like, you going to these events and like getting skin in the game and rubbing elbows with other coaches that are like-minded and that created opportunities for you. I think that's such an important thing for like younger coaches to hear, is that you do have to put yourself out there and you do have to take chances on things, and it's opened some doors for you and created some pretty cool opportunities, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Saying yes is very good. Not just from a career standpoint, but you know, from what I was going back to earlier with, if you want to work with a lot of people, just say yes to a lot of options. So maybe I don't know much about bodybuilding. Maybe I don't know much about athletics. Someone's reaching out for help. Can I help them? What's the issue that they have? If you're not confident with that, say no, it's fine. But I think the biggest thing for me is I wanted to surround myself with people who can help me through that. So maybe I'm not exactly sure how I do this. I have a pretty good idea. I'm going to pay some Killian for mentorship, right, to help me out with this. Or I'm going to ask Jordan for help with this. Or I'm going to go to a Prescript lab and I'm going to ask questions on this. And then I'm going to go try to apply it. And I'm going to get usually really good feedback, right? Positive or negative, I'm going to start to learn, right? And then now I have reps with that. So now the next person comes on board. It's like, okay, I've done that before. I've seen this. I've done that. I have a pretty good idea how to do this for you. That's how you build your skill set. That's how you get comfortable with a wide variety of clients. And you don't need to be that person. Like, you don't need to be the person that does gym pop and athletes and, you know, post rehab stuff. But the more skills that you have, the more you'll grow your business, because you can say yes to more things. But I think the more you'll realize that you can cross apply those to a variety of people.
Yeah, I think that's so important, is just saying yes to anything and everything to develop a portfolio and get skilled with different types of clientele and different issues. It just makes your business a lot broader and allows you to impact more people and creates opportunities for you.
Yeah, and we've discussed the time to say no, right? You know, client that has unrealistic expectations, that's only going to be a bad client for you. So, you know, there are times to say no, but I just find more coaches than not that are saying no to the wrong things. Like, I've heard, we used to have like organized personal training at DMB Iron. And the manager at the time was telling me, he's like, you know, I have all these leads for 6 a.m. sessions, and like I'll ask coaches if they want to come do it. And like, no, I don't do mornings. What do you mean you're unemployed? Like, if you have a full schedule, if you say you're self-employed and you're not working in the morning, you're unemployed as a personal trainer. If you're not working from 5:30 or 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. and, you know, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., you're unemployed. I don't care what you say. Or you're really lucky. I don't know. But it's like, you need to say yes to those things if it's inconvenient. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not somebody who should be self-employed, right? Or be working a more service industry-based job, which is also fine. But just realize, you know, that is part of the business.
Yeah, in coaching, it's 12, 13-hour days, sometimes longer, and that's just the name of the game. If you're not willing to do that, you're not going to make it.
And it doesn't have to be that way forever, but, you know, you earn your stripes. You earn your ability to say no to people, right? Like, okay, no, I'm not going to do an 8 p.m. session on Tuesday. I'm just not going to do that. I don't need your money, respectfully. If you want to see me at 1 p.m., cool. If not, I know this guy sitting next to me right here. They'll do it for you. You know, like that's okay.
But the hustle and grind has to be there in the beginning, though. If it's not there, you're not going to make it. You have to say yes to everything. And I mean, we've told people this. I don't know if you believe, but like in the beginning, free is pretty normal. Like, you got to get a reputation, and free is going to be normal. Like, yeah, I'll absolutely do that for you. I want results. I can get this. I'm going to say yes. Help me get something so that you can get some traction. And that's normal also in coaching. I've done some things for free in the very beginning that I had to work myself out of so I could just get results from people to show people I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, dude. I've trained people worth 8 figures for free before for an opportunity, right? To showcase my skills and build a relationship. Free is not bad. I don't care what Tony Robbins influencer you listen to. It tells you to value yourself. Like, you should value yourself, but also, like, there's a time and place where free work's going to be in your benefit, especially if you have a long-term outlook.
Absolutely. Long-term for sure. If it's going to benefit you that much, do it.
Yeah, I think the relationship building side of this industry is so important. People overlook that, but it's like the things that you do for people that you're not charging for, like, they remember that, and it creates opportunities for you. And like the networking and relationship building, it's massive.
Number one.
Yeah, once you have a name out there and you've gotten like an opportunity and like you've built up a little bit of a brand and you've got connections, like the influx, like especially with in-person training, like I think it's so easy to pick up in-person clients. You just put yourself out there and talk to people.
Yeah, you put yourself in front of people in the gym, they're going to come up to you because they see you all the time. They see you training, they see you in the gym, they see you constantly. They're like, this guy has to know what he's doing. Even if you don't really know what you're doing, you're going to get in-person clients. And I tell the trainers now, it's like, just remember, like, you are going to know more than your average person. Just showing them simple things is going to blow their mind. It's going to help them out a ton. Now, it's going to have to evolve from that, and you're going to have to learn more if you want to make it farther in the industry. But just being in front of people, I did free sessions just 2 months ago. The guy was asking for help, and I knew him. I was like, listen, I got time. Let's just run through a nice leg day, and I'll do this for free of charge. And dude, remember it. Like, that's my name going out into the public in a good way, him spreading the word, like, hey, this guy, he put me through an awesome leg day. He loved it. That's good response.
Yeah, I do free work all the time. Still. All right. Part of the business.
Part of the business.
Yeah, part of the business. All right. So a topic I wanted to get into today, and I've been interested in these because you've been doing the program audits. The big topic in the industry right now is ChatGPT going to take our jobs? And I know you've been making some good videos on those. So I wanted to dive into that today. I think it's an interesting topic for us.
Yeah, if you're bad at your job, it certainly will. But I don't see it taking over. Maybe it could take over like the programming. I don't know if you guys offer much programming. I think programming is one of the more like low value ads. I don't think there can be certainly good programs and bad programs. And like I said, starting out, if you just follow a program, you're probably going to see results, even if it's ChatGPT. I get people that come to me that were following a ChatGPT program, and it worked until it didn't, right? How long will it work? How quickly will it yield the results you want? Those are different questions to ask. But is it taking over? No. Is it taking over again, like low skill job, or sorry, like people that are lower skilled at the job? It's like, yeah, it will. Much like it will with many other industries. But I think for the most part, it can't do your job as a coach. There's too much subjective in coaching. Even assessing like movement quality things. You could put somebody in a lab and do, put little needle points all over them and look at them on some fancy computer camera thing and talk about their exact biomechanics. But it's like, I don't think AI is going to have the ability to, one, look at the, excuse me, I've been sick all week.
Are you good?
Look at the totality of the program and, really be able to dial in all the points you need to an individual. Like we said, coaching is more of an art form. Like I don't see anybody who's going to be talking to a robot or, do you think AI is going to take over like therapy? Like instead of people going to the therapist, they're going to be on ChatGPT, like talking. Is that going to be healthy for them? Is that going to get the same outcomes? Probably not. So it's them crashing out over their knee hurting or their glutes not growing, whatever. Is that going to get fixed by an AI chatbot? Probably not. Like you're still going to need a human aspect to it. And I do think they're like AI can help you with certain coaching tools. It can help you organize a meal plan, right? It can maybe help you get more creative with like exercise selection. You're like, okay, my client has been doing these 3 tricep exercises and they tell me they're going to quit if they don't get a 4th one. And you're like, oh man, I don't know what to do. Okay, I don't know, ask AI. You might get a decent option. But yeah, most of the programs that when I go do those AI program audit things on YouTube, they end up having like a pretty decent summary. Like, oh, okay, if your back hurts, change these 3 things. It's like, okay, cool. And then you look at the program they gave you, and the program doesn't do any of that. It's like, so it can't put the pieces together between like what it says you should do and what it has you doing.
Yeah, I think the AI stuff it's an interesting topic. Like I do think that there is going to be some benefits, but it's like you said, the key takeaways is it'll wash away some of the saturation of the industry of bad coaching. But I think people that really care and are passionate about people will be able to utilize as a tool to elevate their business. I don't think in-person coaching or online coaching, like quality online coaching, is something that can be replicated by any type of like AI device. Like if you truly care about people and you provide a high quality skill service, like there's so much value to one, not only the accountability, but like the relationship building side of like what you can offer with truly coaching somebody and like developing that relationship. I think that's like the main driver of this is like human connection. Like people crave that. Like just for example, look at like a run club. Like you could go run on your own, but people pay to join like a run club because of the accountability and the community and the structure, right?
Mhm.
I look at the same as what we do in our industry too. It's like, yeah, maybe somebody could find a generic program online, but is it gonna push them and hold them accountable the same way that you are when you're critiquing and having organic conversations about how to elevate a program and progress it? Like, I don't think so.
Checking in
Yeah,
with AI. How did I do today?
I think it'll take over. Like, what's like the training marketplace? If you use like Trainerize, can you go on there and like buy programs?
Mm-hmm.
I think like the stuff like that, that's like pretty low value in my opinion, will get taken over. But ultimately, looking at coaching, I look at this like biopsychosocial model of coaching, which is like you can look at programming, you can look at mechanics, but like there's things outside of that too. Like, what's the person's personality like? What are their outside stressors? How are they sleeping? How are they eating? Right, nutrition. How's their work? There's all these different. What are their genetics? What's their family life like? What's their social life like? There's all these things that are going to influence a human. And then two, communication, like actual coaching. There's just so many variables to manage there. And I think, like you're saying as well, like the ability to actually come in, have a community, come in the gym, especially for like in-person coaching or even like online coaching, you'll see a lot of people that do a really good job. A lot of coaches building a community. They love to take their progress picture and like tag their coach. And you go to the coach's profile and you go through and it's like 10 people every day that are posting like, oh yeah, I'm working with so-and-so, like team, whatever. And like, they're all hyped up about it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a community thing as well there. So I think there's lower skill things that will take over, but I think the overall coaching industry will not be negatively affected by it. Like, I'm not going to be telling coaches to go like, trying to find a new skill set or like save their pennies because their job's going to go away.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's going to force coaches to elevate too. Like it'll remove bad coaching, but like if you're providing a good service, like you'll be fine. I think it's why you have to organize like your online coaching business in a make it a true business where you're like offering more than just a program design. Because yeah, you can find a program online, but like if you have somebody like critiquing technique, do you have somebody thinking about all those variables like you mentioned earlier, like stress, sleep quality, life place, career, like so many different factors that can play into decision making of how you program somebody's nutrition, somebody's training, and their cardio prescriptions, things like that. Like those are all variables that like are very much individualized, and that's the value of having like a personalized coach, right?
Yeah,
I think that really can and developing your skills and how you communicate those things to people and elevating that stuff. That's how you'll survive all this stuff. But I don't think it's one of those things where it's gonna affect people that are really authentic and passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Me and you are both proponents of like the hybrid system too, like having the online plus the in-person sessions, critiquing online programs where I'm programming, but I'm also helping you through this program, making sure everything's doing the right way. So that also is that's a helping tool. That's one I love in the online industry where I can program and also help others in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, too, like, part of what we do is personal training is a luxury service.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, usually it's people that have supplemental income and there's people that want to have a trainer. They want to have somebody who is personally getting them to their goals. So I think at the end of the day, it's like those people are not going to want AI to lead them. They want to have a trainer. Like they want to have that person who is now in their social network as well.
Yep. Us trainers are luxury commodities. Talked about in Wine Club. I got a personal trainer today.
Yeah, now that's a bad sell. They're going into a recession, go be a personal trainer, which is a luxury service. Yeah.
All right, we got time for one more question, Nick. So, all right, this is a broad one, but advice you would give to a young trainer first getting into the industry, like they're trying to map out what they want to do, figure out like how to get started in the industry. What's your advice for somebody?
Yeah, invest and don't invest in don't open a Roth IRA. Like that's a decent idea, but like invest in what's going to get you better at your job, especially as a service provider. Your time is your money, and the better you are at your job, the more money you can charge for that time. So the best thing you can do to improve the ROI there is to get better at your job. So take courses. Don't just take random courses. Take courses you think will actually give you that ROI. Pay for mentorship, right? Even if you're not saving extra money every month, don't be financially irresponsible, but at some point, like do what you think will get you where you need to be whatever financial goals you have in the future, which would be, again, getting better. So pay for a mentor, pay for courses, find people who are where you want to be, and figure out, either one, directly pay them and ask them, hey, how can I get here? Help me get better at my job. Here's what I'm seeing, here's my clients, whatever. Walk me through what you do in this scenario, or like, give me career advice. Help me get guided towards the direction you've already gone, because they've already learned. They've already gone through a lot of the bumps in the road, and they can probably help you get around some of that stuff, right? So crowdsource their knowledge. That really be the big things, is surround yourself with people who are, either where you want to be or they're on that trajectory, and have them assist you. Pay for courses, reinvest in yourself. And then, like I said earlier, say yes. Like, say yes to the 5 a.m. client, say yes to the 7 p.m. client, say yes to the weekend seminar, even though it's a little bit too much money,
1,000%. I agree with that wholly. I think there's so much value to investing back into your business and sharpening your tools, because like at the end of the day, your value is kind of like what you can do for people, right? And so your perceived value is what you can provide people and how you can help people, and sharpening those tools and keeping the fire lit and your passion about what you're doing is so important. I think we work, like we said, we work long hours in this industry, but keeping the tools sharp and keeping the fire lit about what you're doing and staying excited and energetic about it is so important. And I think continued education and mentorship is vital for that. I know, like, I've done some things with you before. I've done Prescript. Like, I know JT has as well. You've come down to the gym, done some things. Like the sharpening of the tools and rubbing elbows with other coaches that are where you want to be, or might have some expertise in an area you don't necessarily have the expertise in, which is so important. And it can really help you build out like a very successful career in this industry.
Yeah. And outside of that, train. Like, I can't see how many coaches I see that are personal trainers and they don't train. Like, they show up like it's a desk job and they go home. Like, you should train, because that's your profession, right? You don't have to look like a bodybuilder. Like, one of the biggest, not biggest insults, but one of the funniest slides I ever got from Leo, that owns DMB Iron. It's like, Nick, like, you don't have to be super jacked to be a good trainer. And he's like, like, people love you because you have an athletic build. But like, athletic build wasn't a compliment. You know what I mean? It's like a backhanded compliment. It's like, okay, yeah, but you should still have skin in the game, right? Like, you should be able to train. Like, when I go train with Shadow and those guys, I can hang, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not fucking throwing up in a trash can. I'm not dropping 3 plates off each side to do the weight that I need to do. Like, you can hang, right? So again, from a business perspective as well, you're going to get a lot of business if you're just in there dogging it. Like, if you're training hard, people are going to see it. People are going to ask you questions, and maybe they won't sign up with you, but like, their aunt will, right? Like, oh yeah, this dude Nick's in the gym all the time, and like, he trains pretty hard. Seems like he knows what he's doing. Like, you should reach out to him.
Yep. Practicing what you preach is a big one for sure.
Yeah, your body is your business card at the end of the day. Like, obviously it's important to sharpen the mental tools, but like, you still have to have the look too. Like, that's a part of the industry.
That's wild that you would become a trainer without training. I don't think we've had.
I know you've seen it. I know you guys. I mean, you guys have like 10 trainers at a time usually. There's always a bit of a revolving door, right? I'm sure people have come in that don't train.
Yeah.
You've noticed they sign up, they start training a couple clients, and like, you just never see them train ever.
Yeah, especially like commercial gyms. I feel like you see that. Like, that's more common in a commercial gym. But yeah, dude. Yes. Yeah, that was great advice. Thanks for your time, Nick. This was super fun to get on and catch up and talk about training and all those things. If people want to find you on like social media, like, you have your own podcast, YouTube, Instagram, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, Instagram's Nick Ridpath _ I think YouTube is the same. Podcast is unbranded with Nick Ridpath. Anywhere there. And then if you want to take the Prescript level 1 or sign up for the collective as well, I teach 2 of the labs. I teach level 1 about once a year. It's also a great time if you to join the Prescript community.
Awesome. All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Nick, and we'll catch up with you soon. Okay.
Sir,
appreciate you guys.